Yes.
Okay, great. Welcome to the next hour of our Web Ready broadcast. This one is the one I'm most excited about because it's how to do a Google On Air Hangout. So, and we've got an awesome guest with us. Besides our Dennis Duce, the guru of Google, we also have Debbie Horowitz, who is in Ontario, Ontario, Canada. Debbie is a longtime media planner and business sales expert, having worked with Toronto ad agencies, clients, and channels for more than 20 years. She is the creator of the unique Celebrity Hangouts on-air planning system that shows business owners and marketing professionals the necessary steps and mindset to successfully produce their own signature Google Hangouts on-air show. YouTube Live streaming chat videos, obviously, is what Google Hangouts are, that attract celebrity guests, build unlimited audiences, generate sponsor revenue, and meet business objectives with each episode produced. Debbie's approach focuses on creating unique benefits and value in the pre-planning actions you can take that will dramatically increase the valuable results you enjoy from participating in or hosting a Google Plus Hangout on Air event or a series of your own. Debbie is a professional speaker, author, consultant, and coach, and producer of the new show Hangout Help Desk, which features experts in Google Plus Hangouts on air sharing their insights and specialized help live every first and third Tuesday of the month, beginning January 2015. So we're really excited to have Debbie here with us today as well. And I will turn the time over to them. We will leave a little bit of time at the end for questions and answers, but also we do have, we couldn't get the comment track up, but we do have somebody that will be monitoring your comments online. So go ahead and ask your questions, and we'll have somebody relay those to Dennis, and we'll go from there. So welcome, and here we go.
Okay, Debbie, I had to mute you. There was a ton of background noise for a second. So there you go. You're back on.
Uh-oh.
Wow, that's weird.
Hello? Hello? I'm in control of my own mute button. So I am talking to you from a coffee shop today, so there will be some background noise when I'm speaking, but thank you very much for having me on the show and for letting me join you. I hope that I can answer some questions and help you plan some really amazing hangouts, or at least give you some ideas and some inspiration for really amazing events that can really help you pull together some really strong relationships with your business.
Yeah, you're going to need to speak up. Sometimes it's quiet and sometimes it's really noisy, so maybe pull your mic into your mouth or something so you're not ruining your voice.
Is this a little bit better?
That is better. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so I'll keep the computer a little bit closer to me and I'll just turn my mic on when I'm going to...
That's awesome. As Debbie was explaining in the green room, a lot of times, well, every time you do an HOA, something doesn't work out right. And you end up having some kind of technical difficulty. Comment Tracker has decided it really doesn't want to play well today. That's one of our things. And then, you know, this was a last-minute thing, and Debbie was at a coffee shop. So we're just going to go with it. Again, that's one of the beautiful things about this. You can do this from all sorts of different places. I actually did a hangout on air in the West Desert where we shot off golf ball cannons. You take these things and you put gunpowder inside them and you jam the golf ball in it and you light them off. And we blew these things off way out in the West Desert. It was really cool. I had a cell phone on a tripod about 3 feet away from it, just catching the coolest imagery of this thing live. So the possibilities are endless for an HOA. You know, it's much more freeing than any form of broadcasting previously. And really, you want to adapt and adopt into your HOA those kinds of fun items that are going to give you, you know, that edge make your show something different. I've test driven cars doing HOAs. Yeah, that was fun. I bunny hopped over a camera with a BMX bike one time from the pawn shop. So, you know, just sometimes you just got to have fun. So there's 5 things we're wanting to touch on in the next 45 minutes between Debbie and I. And it's going to be kind of a how-to. I mean, I'm going to be bringing up on the screen and showing you. The first thing we want to touch on is creating the event. Now keep in mind, the creation of an event will take about 30 minutes to do properly. So we're not going to go through everything. We're just going to touch on key points and answer questions as we move along. We're going to talk about best practices on the banner, and the stuff that we're going to talk about on the banner ad best practices will carry over into anything else that you are doing on any social site or on your website. This is some really great SEO value for your graphics that we're going to be touching on there. Step 3 is really where Debbie's going to come in and just shine. She knows so much more about this subject than I do, and that is helping your guests get ready for the show, making sure that you've got the things in place, and hopefully Debbie will also talk a little bit about getting those amazing guests, because her service, Celebrity Hangouts on Air, that's kind of what she does, but hopefully she'll touch on that as well. We'll talk a little bit about the description, some key points. Then Debbie, again, is going to be touching on finding other simulcast venues, like she did with simulcasting to Forbes.com. And if we have time, we'll get into creating your theme for your show. But that's so personalized that it could get difficult anyway. So that's the direction we're going to head. Debbie, do you have anything to add before we jump into creating the event?
No, I think I'll probably add a little bit to every point, if that works for you.
Yeah, jump in anytime you want. As soon as I hear that background noise, I'll stop talking.
Okay, perfect.
All right, good deal. So, now it's kind of disconcerting. I keep feeling like she's dropped out of the call, right, when her volume goes away. No, she's still here. All right, so setting up an event, creating the event. So once you're in Google+, and most have actually been on Google+, so you kind of know a little bit of your way around, hopefully. We're going to, here I am, I'm in Google+. Please, world, don't ping me, because if you send me a private chat with something that you don't want the world to see, you're going to get broadcast, so you might not like that a whole lot. Let me get to the right screen. Here we go. Okay, so you're in here. When you're going to create your HOA event, it's kind of a little convoluted how you actually do it the first time. You come in here, and you go to Hangouts right here. I know it says events right there, and you would think that would be the place that you set it, but no, you set it in the Hangouts, and then it gets really confusing. So stick with me here as we get to the next step. You go to Hangouts on Air, and then, I don't know why they titled this way, to create your Hangout on Air event, you go to Start a Hangout on Air. Which is not what we're going to do. That's the thing. Like, the Start a Hangout on Air would mean I'm going live right now. But no, that's going to create the event. And then you give it your name. Okay, that's kind of a silly name. This is my HOA event. But you want to give it, this is key to your keyword stuff that we were talking about in the last hour. Okay, you want to look at this and try and use your keywords and use them on an ongoing basis. So when I talked last hour about the title, needing to fit within your keywords. Okay, the pawn shop, we called it Pawn Boys. And then the subtitle for that was Live Pawn Utah Style. Now, can you see why I got them to the top of Utah Pawn Shop search? Right? So, little things like that make an enormous difference in how effective your HOA is going to be at affecting search.
I'm sorry, did you use the same one every single time for all 12 episodes?
Yes, and then I added the name of the guest.
Perfect.
Yeah. So whoever. Yeah, Debbie.
You heard my background noise come in. And I don't know if you have pointed this out already or not, but when you schedule your Hangout on Air for the future on Google+, it actually shows up immediately on Google search results. You can go, you can take the title keywords and the description keywords for your Hangout on Air within less than a minute and go do a Google search for the title of that Hangout, and you'll see your future video show up right up on top of the search results immediately.
Yeah, it's not only it has the ability to clock these things. Found it happen in under 6 seconds.
Wow.
Now, not only that, here's the other thing. When you put in the description a link to your blog post, okay, where you're going to be broadcasting the video, the spiders go there within 6 seconds. Never before have you been able to get to tell Google, go look at this page and crawl it for key content until now. Now, can you fathom how important this is for your search? You can tell Google, look here now and get me on search on this page.
Okay, so I just want to wrap my brain around it. Let's say I'm talking about Google Hangouts. So I write a post about Google Hangouts and make sure it's on, and then I book a Google Hangout, and all that circles around together, and I end up on the top of the thing. Look at her nodding.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so make sure
basically
that there's a post that goes along with whatever show you're going to be doing.
Yes.
Or a lot of posts, but at least link one.
This is for your search. You can tell Google. Wow, that was my voice! We've got people watching live on a phone. By the way,
And there's
90-second delay. Okay? So when you're watching, that's why I was talking when I wasn't talking. I call it the Google time warp.
So your blog post. So, normally when you're posting a blog post, we get that different. So if you're going to be posting the link to where you're going to put your broadcast in the future, so it's not going to be would you post another post that same day linking back to the original post, or how would you do it?
You could. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to get creative, and then what you would do is when you post the new post, you're going to go back into your event, and you're going to put your link in the event, and you're going to hit save, and 6 seconds later, the new post is also going to get crawled.
But you wouldn't remove the original, you just add the second? Okay.
There is a limit to how much you can say in the description. Let me go back here to the description. This portion right here, it has a limit. I think you're going to have a hard time with this limit. It's really constraining. You're only allowed 5,000 words. I'm sorry.
I know.
But
It's funny.
5,000, I'm waiting for some really small number.
yeah, I set you up for that
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I usually am in the range of 800 words on my descriptions, because why not? Here's the reality. Most people do not read more than the first 2 paragraphs anyway. So I make the first 2 paragraphs the vital stuff they need to know. I write 2 paragraphs for humans. I write the rest for spiders. Debbie, any thoughts on that? I mean, some people, I know there's some SEO guys that disagree with me, but what are your thoughts?
No, I absolutely tend to agree. I think that your most converting and action-taking link right at the top, the first line or two of the description, so that it's visible to everyone, and it's within the first like 60 characters or whatever it is that gets crawled by Google spiders for the search. So those links and keywords are what have the most incredible weight. But I did have a question. There is, and I hope Dennis will have an answer or will go find an answer. One thing that I've noticed about the technical setup of Google Plus Hangouts on Air, sometimes on some Hangouts on Air, you can see in the description, at the bottom of the description, there's an actual button that says visit the official website or the official link. And sometimes it doesn't exist. I've never been able to figure out how to schedule a Google Plus Hangout on Air that has that visit the official link button. And I'm not sure if it's an old-fashioned way of setting them up or the new technical way. But
That's exactly it, Debbie. It's what's called the old way. It's when you use the method. You and I have talked about this method before, but when you use the method that was used prior to early January, late December, depending on when you got the rollout of last year, then it does a couple of things differently. One, it allows you to link your Google Maps page. So if you are a brick and mortar store, you actually don't want to do what I'm showing you right now. You want to use the old method. And I've got some videos that I've already done on how to set up the old method. So,
and that's if you're bricks and mortar.
If you're bricks and mortar, you want to use the old method because it's going to help your Google Maps page. Because what happens, it's really cool, is when you put in the Google Maps page there, then everyone that says they're going to the event has just checked in at your store.
Nice.
I don't care if they're in London. They went to an event, and the event is at this location, and Google doesn't separate that. So you could have 20 or 30 people every week coming to your store and checking in. Huge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So really quick, actually, let me do this. I'm going to show you just really quickly the rudimentary of the old method. You go to events. Oh, I'm not screen sharing. Let me screen share. It's so hard when the two monitors aren't actually side by side.
You need someone else here who's tech savvy and can do all that for you.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Okay.
I do want to point out, and this is something you can consider as well for your own Hangouts, the more important the Hangout event is that you're planning, and the more that you have like influential or celebrity guests, or you have contracted audiences that it's going to be shown to, the more you can want to post it. Oh, you can't hear me?
No. Let's see a video of your lips while you speak.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay. What I was saying is I wanted to point out about I forgot what my point was. let me come back.
Okay.
Why does she not put on earphones and a headset?
I think she's got earphones on, but not. I don't think she's got a mic. Okay, so let me do this. I'm going to come back and. Right here. Okay, so how I got here was I came in on the drop-down menu on the side to events right here. This is what's called the old method, okay, because it got superseded by the new method in late December of last year.
So this is for brick and mortar.
This is if you're a brick and mortar. So you're going to go to events, and it's acting really slow. Why won't it open my events? Too many windows open? I don't know. Come on, do something, anything. All right, well, maybe I'm not going to show this to you. There we go. It's coming up now. Okay, so once you get to events, it looks like this, and it shows you any events that you've got coming up that you've been invited to or anything else. So then you click on Create Event right here, and this is the old method of creating event. And you go through and you give it the title and you set the thing, and you know, you can change the theme, which is your graphic image. We'll get to that later in the show. And I'm just going to call it Test and Invite. Let's make it. We'll make it public. What the heck? And Invite. Okay. And then once you've created the event, this is where you're able to add some features. You scroll down to the side here, click on this arrow right there. No, you don't click on that arrow. Ignore that altogether because that would be the wrong thing to do. You click on Edit Event, and then you click on this arrow right here. You go to Advanced right there. Show More Options right there. So you can put in the location. Your detail is what the description is on the other one. You put in your website right there. If you're selling tickets to the event, you put those in right here. Your YouTube URL, if you have one, and if you have parking to your HOA event, then that would be weird. And you hit Save, okay? And then that's going to give all of that information in the sidebar right over here, right in this area. Above the section that says Guests, there will be another one of these little rectangles, and it'll have the website and the other stuff. Now, the thing that's difficult about this is you now need to create the YouTube video, and you need to add the YouTube video into this right here in that part that said Advanced, Show More Options. The part that says
the link that
YouTube URL right there, you've got to create your URL in advance, which is tricky, but can be done. And then once you've created it, you've got to put the URL in here.
Okay, so if you are an online business, but you are going to do an event at a brick and mortar place, then you would use that.
I do that all the time
Okay.
for people. If I'm going to be if this was an office building, I would have used the old method to set up these events so that web-ready systems got the benefit of everybody checking in
On the map.
on the map. So.
Great.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
Okay. And I guess we won't go into how to create the YouTube URL beforehand.
Yeah, creating it. Well, one of the easy ways to create a YouTube URL ahead of time, it gets confusing, is to go in and create the event using the Hangout on Air feature this way. Coming into Hangouts on Air, start Hangout on Air, and set the date in for the same date. Click later, set the date for when you want to set it. And then, if you're going to do this, what you need to do is you need to make it private. So you just put your own name in. Okay? Which, by the way, there's multiple Dennises. You want to follow Dennis N. Duce.
DUCE.
No, it's doing something weird. It shows up for a half a second and then it disappears. Oh, that's because I'm me right now. I thought I was Web Ready Systems. Oh, there it is. This one right here. That's who you want to follow. Okay, but you just share it to yourself. Now it's a private event, so nobody is going to be commenting in 2 locations. That gets really confusing for you, for the audience, for everyone else. And you hit save. Why? Oh, I don't probably have a title. Yeah.
Did you hit save and then?
Or share right there. And now that event is set up for whatever that date is in the future. And then you can grab from that event. Once you set it up, you come in here. The event now looks like this. And you click on links right there. And you can grab the URL right here. Control copy. Go over to the other event. Post this into the YouTube URL. You've now got 2 events by doing it this way. And you've got to remember that you have to come into this one to start the event, but it'll be broadcasting in the other location.
Okay.
Was that confusing?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
If you just repeat it one more time, I think that would be solidified.
So, do you want me to do the steps or just
no?
talk?
If you just repeat.
Okay. So what you're going to do, let me get one of the cameras on. What you're going to do is you set up the old method. So you set up that event with the dates and you put in the map and all that stuff, and now you need the URL. So that one you make public. Then you go back in and you set up an event using the Hangout feature instead of the event feature. And you set that up with the title, the date, the same date as the other event off in the future, and you share it only to yourself. Okay? And once you share it to yourself, then you hit share. It's a private event. No one will go in there and be commenting. But you can go to the location here on the side where it says links, and you can grab the YouTube link that you've created on the second event. You post that link back into the first event. Now everybody's commenting and engaging on the first event. You've got the second event so that you could have the YouTube video. Now, there's another way to do it, which is to just start the HOA at the moment it goes live. But then you have to remember to paste it in right then. I'd rather have it sitting in there, so all I have to do is start this thing, and it's running. That's a lot better. So.
But if we do it the new way, for online without breaking over, I'm set.
Yeah, the new way is just the second half of the old way.
Got it.
So
Create a Google Hangout on Air.
Just create a Google Hangout on Air and forget about events. You know, I mean, you'd use events for other things. If you're going to be doing a public speaking engagement somewhere or something like that, you do want to use it for that, but you're not going to use it for your Hangouts on Air unless you're a brick and mortar. And quite honestly, I'm the only person that I know that's doing this method. Most of the people who use the old method aren't using it because it has benefits. They're using it because they don't know the new method. So that's a little nugget that I figured out myself. Debbie, any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for sure, depending on the type of celebrity guests or influencers that you have joining your Hangout, you would want the potential for your Hangout to be featured on the official Google schedule, Hangouts on Air. They usually only feature like 3 or 4 upcoming Hangouts. They're usually with large name celebrities and influencers, recognizable business brands. But it's really, sorry?
Like it wasn't awesome.
Sorry, I can't hear what you said.
A lot of noise. Some dude is talking really loud.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where the microphone is on my computer. So I'm not sure if it's not in the back of my computer, sort of like aiming at other people. Can you hear what I'm saying?
That's great right there, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So what I was saying is that there are some benefits when you're planning your Hangout on Air, depending on how big of an event it is for your business. If you have celebrity or influencer guests, one of the things that you want to potentially try for is to have your Hangout event featured by Google on their official schedule of Hangouts on Air. And they'll only feature a couple of Hangouts on their official schedule, but you must start your Hangout on Air. You must schedule it on Google Plus as a public event. It cannot be a private event to have them consider it for their official schedule. So it's something to keep in mind depending if you're using the old method or the new method, and following Dennis's instructions, that there is just that limitation that you can't even try and get it on their official schedule according to them.
Is going to help your Google Maps, but if you've got, you know, Justin Timberlake coming on your show, you don't want to use it even though it could benefit your maps, because the fact that you've got Justin Timberlake on your show means you could end up on the official schedule, and the old method will not get you on the official schedule because Google doesn't look at the old method anymore as being an HOA. They only look at them as events. And you've made your HOA private, so that's no longer eligible. So you gotta, I mean, there's a lot of things to balance for maximum benefit.
The other thing that I want to say is that when you're actually conceiving the idea and the benefit, the value of the Hangout on Air that you're going to be investing in planning time and, you know, work hours and creating, it's really good for you. There's benefits that you can't get in any other way. If you can schedule the event on Google Plus at least 90 days in advance of the live event, because then you have the option of taking advantage of everything that I do, which is getting into the large name media channel and working your schedule with influencers and with celebrities that can help your Hangout become much more of a viral object than if it's just you and someone that the audience doesn't know or doesn't really, that they're not already excited to see.
All right.
Thanks, Debbie.
Yes. So I was just trying to check up on the comments there for a second. Okay. So we've touched on the basics of how you set up your event. Let's look here at the next section of some of the banner best practices. So when I create banners, I don't have Photoshop. I don't even know how to use Photoshop. Okay? So when I'm creating a banner, I like to use Google Tools. You can do quite a bit with the Google Draw app. So the way you get to the Google Draw app, let me get in here and screen share this one computer again. All right. You come right here to this set of 9 boxes.
Where are you looking?
Oh, I'm not screen. I'm not on the. There we go. Okay, you guys can't see it here in the room because of the green banner at the top, but it's in the upper right-hand corner. It's just 9 square boxes. Okay. In fact, if I do this, you'll be able to see it here. There we go. So it's right here. Okay. You click on those boxes, and you go to Drive. Okay. Once you're in Pens, I organize all of my stuff on Drive the way you would on a hard drive. So I have folders and all that kind of thing. I'm not going to get into how to use Drive right now. You go to create a new something or another, and oh, here we go. Create a new, scroll down. You got to go to More, and then you go to this right here, Google Drawing. Okay? And then you go in and you start to lay the thing out. This here adjusts the shape of the piece. It's 1200 by 300, the shape and orientation of it. There is no way within Google Drive to tell what your pixels are, so what I usually do is I go grab some image that is 1200 by 300 off of a Google search, I paste it in here, and then I shape the page to fit it, okay?
Okay, now what were those magic numbers?
1200 by 300, that's your banner for a Hangout on Air. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually go to a banner that I've created because we're not going to really talk about the actual steps of creating a banner. So this will take just a second because I have a really interesting way of managing my folders.
I can't believe how many tools Google has. I had no idea about it. Did you guys?
They have a ton of tools. So here is the banner for...
Hey Dennis, Debbie's saying she's got about 30 minutes of battery life left. So.
Okay. All right. You know what? In that case, let's do this. Let's jump to Debbie's section on guests, because that is really important stuff. And it's, I mean, I'm dying to learn from the expert. And then we'll come back to what we've been talking about right here, in case we lose Debbie. How does that sound to you, Debbie?
That sounds perfect to me. How's my sound check? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
Get close to the mic.
Okay, am I close to the mic?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so here's my insight and my take on how to get big name celebrities and influencers joining your Hangouts on Air. I think it all comes down to the value of the content that you're creating for your audience. And when you know what the end results are that you want to achieve with your Hangouts, the change that you want to create in the world or for your target audience, then it becomes fairly easy for you to research using Google and using all the media channels that exist around that cause, that action, the change in the world that you're working to create. What I do is I just research Google and I say, okay, who's working on developing insights on autism? And I just search for the keywords around the content, the discussion that I want to create with my Hangout on Air. And what I do is I find who are the celebrities and business celebrities especially, and who are the people of influence that are already participating in conversations about that same subject matter in major mass media. So that helps you create a list of target names for your celebrity and influencer guests. Whenever you see someone that you recognize, go, wow, that's a big name person talking about my same subject, I should reach out to them, because obviously they have a drive and a passion for this conversation that you are about to create. And the other thing that you can do, if you have enough advance time, if you booked your Hangout on Air at least 90 days in advance, what it does is when you book your Hangout on Air on Google+, you get the embed codes. You get the links to your Google+ page and to your YouTube video for the future. And what I do is I go back to that same Google search results, the same list of media channels that have been talking about the subject matter that I'm preparing my Hangout on Air for. And I research with those media channels, how are they talking about this same subject matter? Because they've already had those same celebrity and influencer guests, and they've already invested their business and media channel resources, very often quite a bit of money, but also HR time and resources. They've already invested in creating content and conversation for their advertisers around the same conversation. But what you want to do is make sure that you have a different angle. When you were doing your initial research about who are the celebrities and influencers that are talking about this conversation, that are talking about that particular cause that you want to drive people to take an action towards, what you want to do is be mindful of the questions that come up in your head or the comments come up in your head when you're reading these articles about the subject matter that you're about to have a hangout about. When you're asking yourself in your head, is no one talking about this? If I had been a part of this big article in Forbes or in Harvard Business Review or in USA Today where they're talking about the subject matter, I would have been sure to say X, Y, and Z. Why is nobody talking about this X, Y, and Z angle that I'm really passionate about? And that's the angle that you want to approach your celebrity and influencer guests with. You want to say, I'm having a conversation upcoming in the future about this subject that I know you're really passionate about. And what's different about this conversation that we're having, and it's really important that you highlight what is different about what you're doing from everything else that they've already done, because, and I'm not sure if you can hear me at all over the coffee grinder. You can hear me? You really want to point out what's different about your conversation, because what you're not able to bring to the channel, like, it's easy to see why celebrities and influencers want to be with the big name media channels, because they have huge audience. And you don't have huge audience that you can bring unless you can propose a completely unique angle to the conversation. So now that you have a unique angle to the conversation, what you can do is go back to those same media channels and you can say, I'm creating additional conversation that will help you and your media channel. Would you like to live simulcast in advance, in 3 months in the future, I'm having this live conversation and I've already booked these celebrity and influencer guests who are going to make it really dynamic conversation, and it will be conversation or content, insights that have never been spoken about before, because I've done my research and I'm making sure that it is new content. And you as the media channel, even though you have audience, I'm not going to charge you for creating and for showing my content that I'm producing to your audience. Because once you give them your content to live simulcast to their audience, that's content that you're giving to them that they can monetize with their existing advertisers. So you're giving them content that has monetary value, that otherwise they would have to invest, they would have to pay their journalists, they would have to pay their content producers, they would have to pay their web producers to produce this unique content. But they've already invested in the research and the HR, and they've produced some content about it, but now you're giving them more. You're giving them more content that is a unique angle, that is of value, that they've already demonstrated. They see value and their audience sees value in it. And what that does is it gives you an opening to their whole audience. So what I did with Forbes.com was I knew in my head that I wanted to start talking about in the media channels, in mass media channels, I wanted to start talking about celebrity hangouts on air. And the only way that I would really be able to explain it and make it happen for the media channels that I wanted to target was if I did it myself. So what I did was I actually researched on Forbes.com. I decided Forbes.com was the website where I wanted to be able to broadcast a live, simulcasted, a live recording Hangout on Air. And what I did was I researched what type of content could I give to Forbes would be of value to them. So I researched how write their art. I researched chats, which was the last similar social media craze that was sort of similar to Hangouts. And I searched for, on Forbes, what have they written about how to host Twitter chats in the past? and I found an article that was 1,000 words. I think it was 1,300 words, which surprised me at the length. But I found an article that was the ultimate guide to hosting tweet chats. And what I did was I wrote in the exact same style and format and layout as that had been published on Forbes previously about a similar topic. I published that article to them, or I wrote an article, a draft article, and I sent it to Forbes. But what I had to do was I had to think in the future, when are they going to be publishing this article? And as I was writing the article, I scheduled my future Google Plus Hangout on Air, taking a gamble on the date, taking a gamble that they would be able to publish my Hangout on Air early enough so that they would be live simulcasting and embedding the Hangout on Air that I had created just for Forbes. What ended up happening was that I sent the draft article to a contact, a friend of mine who is a writer for Forbes. I sent my draft article to her at the end of July. It took me, maybe about a day of research and editing, create the article, to write the article. I sent it to my contact at Forbes, and I heard back from her within 3 days. She said, I actually really like this. It's pretty good. Give me about 2 weeks to edit it, and I'll post it to my Forbes blog mid-August, which was amazing. It was incredible to just have my first written piece be accepted by the most respected, for me, the highest target and most respected media channel that I could receive. And what it actually did was it made the article that I wrote for Forbes was extremely engaging in a new way for Forbes.com because it had a future video already embedded. So the video, the article itself had 3,000 readers before we even went live on, before we even did the live simulcast. So everyone who would read would know, everyone who would read the article would see the future upcoming event, and they would also have the RSVP link to the Google Plus event page. And that made it so that the article itself was driving viewers to my Hangout on Air event. That Hangout on Air event had more viewers and more interaction than any other event I've done. I think we have just under 4,000 viewers of the article in total. And the event itself had more than 500 comments on the event page, which I've never had any other event have so many comments. We had more than 250 yes RSVPs in the 5 weeks leading up to the Hangout on Air, and we had more than 65 maybes. So it had lots of great interaction, and all of that was done with absolutely zero, well, I think I spent about $80 in total on marketing, but that was just to one very niche small target group. But in general marketing, I didn't spend anything at all, and we were able to achieve nearly 300 new lead opt-ins for my own business and exposure through Forbes.com.
We are running I'm coming back next week anyway. I think I could do more service if I were to finish up next week, if that's okay. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you'll be able to watch the video even if you can't make it, but there's still a lot to cover, and I know you guys want to listen to our other presenter as well. So let's, yeah, go ahead and give us any closing thoughts that you've got, Debbie.
Oh. Yeah, good closing thoughts. I think that the best thing that I can say is really, get creative. I have to ask myself the question all the time, am I really doing the best that I can do? Like, I think so programmed to think small and to think that we can't access large audiences easily, that we have to build, if you have a following of 500,000 on Google+, that has to be built one person by one person. I think that there are always unique ways and holes that exist in fences that you can crawl through and find amazing value and amazing results. But more than anything, with your Hangouts on Air, I think the most important thing is the amount of pre-planning time that you have. Once you've set your date and you've committed yourself to, telling people about it and inviting guests to that date, and you're going to go ahead with that date no matter come hell or high water, no matter what happens. The bottom line is you can never turn back the clock and do more planning. Once the day arrives, you're going forward with it. And you can't increase the value. So you want to be really careful, and you want to pre-plan diligently, but you don't want to waste your time, because it's really easy then to lose the value in the results that you're creating.
Great. Debbie?
Thank you so much for having me and for listening.
That was free clapping. That wasn't. That sounded so, just in closing, I still have a ton about the basics of getting this done. We will touch on those next week. Feel free during the next week to hit me up with any questions, and please come back next week with any questions that are burning in your mind as you walk away from this and you're thinking about this content and how we do Hangouts on Air and some of the little basics of it.
Can we ask Debbie questions too?
Certainly you can. If you just comment in this stream right here and plus mention her, that's done by just putting in a plus sign and starting to type her name. It'll just come up in a drop-down menu, click on it, and she'll get a notification. So you can ask her questions.
So people can ask questions all through the week on this chat stream.
Yep.
And then when we do the next event next week,
yep,
same time?
Same time as the first one, and I think you're going to have some other presentations
Mountain
as well.
Standard Time.
Yeah. So, and I will be putting in, when I create those events for next week, I'll also put a link in this event and the event from this morning so that everyone that was at those events knows where to go for the next coming up event. So.
And they can review the
video.
video on
YouTube, on the Web Ready Systems YouTube channel. There's only 2 videos on the Web Ready Systems YouTube channel.
Web Ready Blueprint System.
Web Ready Blueprint Systems.
System.com.
That's the website.
YouTube. Right.
If you go to YouTube and you start typing in Web Ready, you're going to find it. Like,
Great.
Beyond that, there's not other. I've done it a number of times in the last week. So yeah, just jump on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow Web Ready Systems on Google+, follow me, follow each other, just get engaged. And again, Debbie, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank all of you for...
That's awesome.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next Thursday, 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and we'll get into all the rest of this good stuff. And hopefully, I don't know if Debbie, you'll be able to join us, but we'll continue the conversation. So,
Take care.
Yay!